Well, the weather has been absolutely gothic today. Thunder and lightning, very, very frightening. Talking of gothic, Laura McCluskey has written her second book called The Cursed Road. It's out now and it's from HarperCollins, and you may remember me waxing very, very lyrical about The Wolf Tree, which was her first one, which was published a year ago. And if you haven't read The Wolf Tree, get on it, and definitely continue your gothic reading journey with The Cursed Road. We met in book one Georgie, Georgina, George Lennox, and Richie Stewart, and they had a very interesting relationship. He's being slightly older, much more of a mentor, and she quite traumatized by prior experiences, but very sort of gung-ho, and lots of things went on in book one. In book two, they come back together again, even though you feel there's been a kind of a hiatus. And this is where McCluskey is really quite brilliant, because she spends quite a lot of time getting us familiar with who these two people are and watching them, how their dynamic works. I mean, professionally, and then where is that barrier with the personal, and what are the things they've said or not said to each other in the intervening time. The plot is deliciously gothic. We have a dead body, a young woman, unidentified, on a very potholed, boggotty, tree-lined, sort of lugubrious road in the Scottish Highlands. And Richie and Georgina come together. This is their first time they've worked together since their previous case. And the woman has a feature, which is that on one of her arms is written or has been gouged a name, and that name means something to Richie because it's the name of someone on a case who he'd never been able to work out what happened to her. So there's a dead woman and another dead or missing woman's name on her arm. What is the story? So there's a kind of, we get our attention from the fact that they have to work out, that's just, another missing woman. Will there be another one? So they're on the hunt for a murder. In the meantime, we have this deliciously creepy setting, if you like, of a kind of an ancestral or a generational feuding families had lived with their boundaries adjacent on this road, and they kind of very viciously kind of try to annihilate each other at an actual wedding between their families. And what has happened in the meantime is one family has moved on, sold out their property to a hunting lodge, which is an absolutely superb opportunity for, people will be running around the place with guns. And on the other side, we have one of the ancient families that's still there. There's a father, there's three sons, there's a fiance wandering around, but there are also sort of weird noises, mysterious figures appearing and disappearing, crypts. So you have this sort of situation which is ripe for both giving you the chills and trying to help, get Georgie and Richie to actually solve what's going on. In the village where they're staying, we have also a recently released criminal who has been in for assault, and he's a person of interest. A very pushy reporter who is trying to get the kind of the dirt on Georgie's recent experiences. Some very cute and cuddly people from the hotel, lots of stuff going on, but mainly we're kind of looking at not just the tension of this plot, which is superb, and the kind of the spooky, gothic-y, what's going on in the sort of less mundane domain, but we also have this complex interplay of these two main characters who are finding each other again, or are they, and what's going on there. It's an absolutely stunning read because she delivers on those three fronts, and a novel that does that is already pretty terrific. So I would highly encourage you to pick that one up and go back to The Wolf Tree, if you haven't read that one. A little birdie tells me that there is an event with Laura McCluskey at the Leaf Bookshop, so check that out if you're in the area. And that's it from me on this one. I highly recommend it. In the meantime, you can like and subscribe and let me know what you thought of it in the comments. Bye bye, see you next time.